Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got a combo that one of you guys requested for us to test, and I see no reason why it's not going to be an absolute hammer of a combination. We know what these shells can do, we know what this choke and gun combo can do. We haven't tested the two of them together yet, so I'm really curious to see how they do, because it should give us some nasty results, if everything works out the way I think it will anyway. Before the shells I've got today, I brought out some more of the Herter Strutter TSS loads. These ones are the new variant of them, that being the 12 gauge 3-inch 1 3/4 ounce payload of TSS 9s at about 1200 feet per second. This year they seem to have kind of gotten rid of the 2 3/4 inch variant and went to this 3-inch, a little bit larger payload version. I still really like the 2 3/4 inch Herters TSS shells as well, but these, although they are a little more expensive than what those 2 3/4 were, they are still deadly performers. The Herters TSS stuff, and really their other lead loads and field loads and everything, have always been very nice patterning shells. These are no exception to that for sure, and they are typically a little bit towards the cheaper end for a TSS load. You can go get them right off the store shelf at Cabela's or Bass Pro, and even though Herters is their in-house brand name, it's all made by Winchester, so these are essentially a slightly different payload version of the Winchester Longbeard TSS. It's pretty well the same shell, and they perform like it too, so we know we've got a good shell, but how good are they going to do through today's choke combo? But as for our setup, I brought out the Mossberg 835 Ulti-Mag. It's got a 28-inch barrel on it, and we're going to be running the Kicks Gobblin Thunder 680 constriction. This has been an absolute hammer of a choke with just about everything we've put through it. That is a decent load anyway. So I really don't see any reason why this combo shouldn't be another absolute hammer for us today. But as for our test, we're running everything the same as usual. I've got the turkey target at 40 yards and the chrono to get the velocity. So let's get you guys a view of that target, and we'll see what kind of devastation we can get from these 3-inch Herters TSS loads through that Kick 680. One of you guys requested it. I definitely want to try it and see what happens. It should be nasty, so let's take our shot and see what we get. Okay, that shell gave us 1334 through the chrono. We have a box claim of 1200, but right around the 1300 mark is typically what we've been seeing from these shells. That's obviously plenty enough velocity to do the job, but how well did they actually pattern through that Kick 680? I think it's probably going to be pretty nasty, but let's head down there to 40 and see what we got. All right, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and yep, we see a pretty nice looking pattern over here. Obviously, we did favor a little bit to the left. That's kind of been a theme here recently with the 835. I don't think it's me. I have a ton of rounds through that gun. I know where it usually hits, but I did pull the barrel apart and the action apart the other day and give it a real good cleaning out because it needed it. And I'm thinking maybe there's a possibility that just the natural play in the barrel and the barrel nut and stuff like that may have the gun shooting a little bit to the left now if it didn't get put back precisely exactly where it was before. There's obviously not any kind of excessive play in it or anything like that, but if you've ever shot slugs through a gun that has a receiver mounted scope, you know you have to have the barrel nut tight to actually get consistent results, or it will wander on you because the barrel will naturally move around a little bit from shot to shot. That may be what we're seeing here. I may loosen that barrel and screw it back on there and see if it moves the point of impact back over a little bit for us. Either way though, we see a pretty nasty looking pattern down here, but it might not be quite as condensed and tight right through the core as what I thought we might see. Obviously though, that is still a tight pattern, no doubt about it. There's a lot of pellets right out in front of that bird's neck that absolutely would hammer one at 40 yards, no question about it. It's a pretty nice even spread of them throughout most of our pattern there as well. Around the edges, we do throw a little bit of stuff up there towards the top, maybe a few over there towards the right and down to the bottom, but nothing egregious necessarily. Pretty much everything you see right there within, say, 12 to 15 inches or so is pretty even, and I think when we pull this turkey target down and actually count and circle some pellets, we're going to see a pretty nice even condensed hunting spread. It might not be as lights out nasty as what we have seen from these shells and a few other combos, but that might be a pretty good all-around performer right there, where it's not quite too tight, It's still condensed, but we're not blowing anything open either at the same time. That might be what we're gonna see here. But just with the turkey target up, it already looks pretty nice. Definitely no real complaints from me. That's probably about what I expected. Although I also wouldn't have been surprised if it was one of those absolutely nasty baseball looking patterns as well. So let's pull the turkey target down. I'll finish drawing circles and counting pellets, and we'll see how the pattern actually performed numbers wise. Okay, so now turkey target is down and out of our way, and yep, we see exactly about what I thought we would. Nice, even hunting spread. It's got a hot core, but it might not be an absolute screamer like we've seen from these shells in a couple other tests we've done with them. That's just a solid hunting pattern overall. Inside of our 10-inch core circle, we have 310 pellets. Definitely plenty within there to do the job, no doubt about it. Nice even spread as well, with a little bit of hot zone kind of right near the center there as well. Outside of that, with our 20-inch leeway ring, we pick up an additional 205 pellets, and it is a very nice and even spread of pellets throughout most of it as well. No major voids or anything like that. So just nice hunting pattern there. You can get tighter, you can get more open, but that looks very nice. Around the edges, we do have a few little straggly bits here and there. Mainly over here off the right, there's a few noticeable ones, maybe a couple more up there at the top, but nothing too egregious necessarily. That's just a perfectly adequate, nice, solid hunting spread. If I was going to run a TSS load in a 12 gauge, which you definitely do not have to do, I would be looking for a combo that gave me something like this for a pattern. I like the tight cores, don't get me wrong, but I also want a little bit more even leeway in my spread, and that might do it. That's still going to be tight at 20 yards and in or so, but you could also push that to 45 and 50 yards and still be okay with it too if you needed to. So that is a very good middle ground hunting spread that's going to cover a lot of bases to work with. Again, you definitely don't have to run TSS in a 12 gauge to do the job just fine. A lead load, something like the Longbeard XR, is plenty capable for way cheaper. There's no question about that. And I obviously wouldn't hesitate to run those shells one bit either. But for the guys that want to run TSS in 12 gauge and have the little bit of extra money to spend, these Herter shells are still probably one of the best off the store shelf loads you can realistically get. The Winchester Longbeard TSS is kind of right up there with them, as well as the Browning TSS. And wouldn't you know it, all three of those loads are a Winchester shell, just reboxed in different packaging. So it kind of speaks for itself here. Just a nice hunting spread. No real complaints from me. I like how even that pattern is. Maybe if we really want to get picky, maybe, condense down a couple of those edges just a little bit, but they're nothing egregious either. So nothing bad to see here. I would say that combo worked out perfectly fine for us. And for the person that suggested it, if that's the shell and choke combo you wanted to run, it would certainly work out for you pretty nicely, I'd say. And here's the wad out of that shell. Pretty typical Herter stuff here. When it comes to 12 gauge, they've always used these pretty stiff little orangey color wads, and they've always been fantastic performers. No major damage or anything. There's usually a styrofoam piece down in the bottom, but that must have flown out on this particular shot. But it really seems to be a pretty good performing load here. These wads, the way they're loaded, everything just seems to work out nicely for us. Pretty much no matter what choke combo you put them through. So nothing out of the usual here. This wad looks exactly how I would expect it to. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that result right there? It's just a great hunting pattern that can absolutely crush birds at 40 yards any day of the week. It's going to be pretty tight and nasty down there inside of 20, 25 yards or so, but it stays nice and even all the way to the edges of the pattern as well without throwing any big major flyers or splotches in the pattern anywhere. So you could push that a little farther to 45 and 50 yards or so as well and still feel confident in it to do the job. So not much to hate about that pattern right there. For a TSS load, these are still expensive, don't get me wrong, but 60 to 65 bucks a box compared to everything else out there on the market right now is definitely on the affordable end for a TSS shell. And you can go pretty easily find these right on the Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop store shelf. If they've got them in stock, there's usually a bunch of them available right there on the shelf for you. Or you can just order them online and have them sent right to your house. And I think it's usually free shipping as well, which a lot of custom load companies and stuff can't really give you sometimes. So there's not a lot to dislike about about these shells. They're nasty performers. They really don't seem to care what choke or combo you run them through. They're going to perform well. I don't know that we've ever really gotten a bad pattern or a disappointing pattern from them with anything we've tried. The 12, 20, and 410 loads, all of them are great across the board. So if you're the guy that wants to run TSS, don't overlook the Herter shells. Clearly, that combo is going to perform very nicely for you. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Herter's TSS loads? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is that a pattern or combo you would hunt with? Or if you're running 12 gauge, would you just stick to lead? Or is that about exactly what you're looking to see? And what other shells and choke combos do you want to see with either these Herter's loads or the Kicks 680 in that 835? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, you have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it. But I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.